Unravel, a tale where angelic invaders manipulate human minds through advanced technology, and the only hope lies in hidden ancient powers. As the resistance races against time, the future of humanity hangs in precarious balance. Can they disrupt the control and restore freedom? Welcome to my channel. Don't forget to subscribe and share your comments about the exciting end of the story. Divine Invasion. Let the story begin. Starlight twinkled in the velvet backdrop of space, casting a serene glow over Earth. In this universe where multiple races and civilizations winked into existence and faded away, humans had finally entered a golden era of peace and prosperity. Hover cars zipped through city skies, and towering skyscrapers pierced the clouds. The world had never been so connected, thanks to an intricate web of global satellites. In a hidden underground bunker, Lieutenant Alex Carson leaned over a console, eyes narrowing at the array of data streaming past. "This is not right," he muttered, his fingers flying across the keyboard. Beside him, Dr. Elena Torres, a brilliant scientist with a knack for decrypting impossible codes, glanced up from her holographic display. "What did you find now, Alex?" Elena asked, pushing her glasses up the bridge of her nose. Alex tilted the screen toward her, the lines of code reflecting off his determined face. "These anomalies in the satellite feeds. Look, it's like something's piggybacking on our signals." Elena's brow furrowed as she studied the data. "You're suggesting there's outside interference?" "More than that," Alex replied, running a hand through his cropped hair. "I think something is manipulating our satellites." Before Elena could respond, the bunker door slid open with a hiss. Captain Mason, a burly man with a stern face softened by years of camaraderie, entered. "What's going on here, Carson?" he demanded, his voice a low rumble. Alex straightened. "Captain, I think our satellite network is compromised, and not by just any hacker. These anomalies, they're too sophisticated." Mason's gaze shifted to Elena. "Is he right?" Elena nodded, her expression grave. "It's highly probable. We've been noticing strange behavior patterns globally. Acts of violence, instability. It makes sense if there's an external influence." Mason's jaw set in a hard line. "Then we need to act fast. We can't allow this to escalate." As if on cue, the ground trembled, and warning lights bathed the bunker in a crimson glow. Alex's heart pounded. "We're under attack!" Explosions echoed overhead, the bunker shuddering with each impact. "Damn it! We've been found!" Mason cursed. "Elena, secure the data. Alex, grab your gear." Chaos erupted around them as armed guards hurried to fortify the entrance. Elena frantically typed, backing up their research while Alex pulled on his tactical vest and secured his sidearm. "We can't let them get this information," Elena said, her voice tight with urgency. Mason barked orders to the guards, his authoritative presence a beacon amid the chaos. "Evacuation Plan Alpha. Protect the data at all costs." The bunker reinforced doors strained against the incessant pounding from outside. Finally, it gave way, shattering as figures clad in ethereal armor stormed in. They moved with an eerie grace, shrouded in a phosphorescent glow. Alex recognized them instantly, the seraphic Dominion who had arrived only months ago, promising peace and prosperity. A fierce firefight broke out. Alex's training kicked in, and he fired precise shots at the invaders. Elena clutched the data drives, her face pale but resolved. Mason held the line, but the Seraph's advanced weaponry overwhelmed their defenses. "We have to fall back," Mason called, signaling a retreat. Alex grabbed Elena's arm, pulling her towards the emergency exit. Even as they made their escape, Alex couldn't shake the dread settling in his gut. Once outside, panting and bruised, Alex collapsed against a wall, wincing in pain. They knew exactly where to hit us," he rasped. Elena nodded, wiping sweat from her forehead. "We're not dealing with just any enemy. These Seraphs, they're controlling us, manipulating us." Mason approached, his usually stern face marked with worry. "Indeed, we're up against an invasion that's already penetrated deeper than we ever imagined." Alex clenched his fists. "Then we fight back. We need to expose them." Mason's nod was grim. "And we will, whatever it takes." In the heart of an abandoned industrial complex on the outskirts of the city, Alex Carson and his small band of resistors gathered in a dimly lit room. The air was thick with tension and the faint hum of machinery from below. Old posters clung to the walls, remnants of a time when this place buzzed with life. Now it was their sanctuary. Alex sat at a makeshift workstation, surrounded by screens displaying streams of garbled data. Elena Torres, ever the diligent scientist, hovered nearby, analyzing the influx of information. She glanced at Alex, her eyes reflecting a mix of exhaustion and determination. "We've pinpointed the frequency they're using," Elena said softly, her voice barely above a whisper. "It's our satellites. They're piggybacking on our own transmissions to influence people." Alex rubbed his temples, feeling the weight of their discovery. "So every act of violence, every strange behavior we've seen, it's all been orchestrated by them?" A sudden clatter broke the silence as Marcus, a rugged ex-military engineer with grease-streaked hands, slammed a wrench onto the table. "This is some twisted mind control. We gotta stop it before it gets worse." From a corner of the room, Alyssa, a sharp-eyed hacker with an edgy demeanor, chimed in. "Easier said than done, Marcus. They've integrated so deeply into our systems, it's like untangling a nest of vipers." Their somber discussion was interrupted by a broadcast emanating from the main screen. A seraphic figure, emanating a serene but sinister glow, spoke with a voice that dripped with false benevolence. "People of Earth, do not be swayed by those who spread discord and fear. We are here to guide you to a golden age, free from conflict and suffering." Elena's grip tightened on the edge of the table. "Free from conflict? They're the ones causing it!" Marcus looked to Alex, his face set with determination. "What's the plan, Lieutenant?" Alex stood facing his makeshift team. "We need to hijack one of their satellites. If we can expose their interference, make the world see the truth, we might have a chance." Alyssa raised an eyebrow. "That's a suicide mission, Alex. They've got security measures we can't even begin to hack through." Alex nodded, acknowledging the risk. "I know, but sitting here doing nothing is not an option. We have to at least try." The room fell silent as the magnitude of the task ahead settled in. Then Elena took a deep breath, her voice steady but full of resolve. "We'll need a diversion, something to draw their attention while we break into the satellite." Marcus grinned, cracking his knuckles. "I can rig up something explosive. They won't know what hit them." Alyssa smirked, her fingers flying over her keyboard. "And I'll work on scrambling their internal communications. Give you a window of opportunity." Alex looked around at his team, feeling a surge of pride. They were outmatched, but their resolve was unshakable. "Then let's get to work. We'll do this together." Hours turned into days as they planned and prepared. Elena pored over schematics, mapping out the exact point of entry. Marcus wired complex devices designed to disrupt seraphic sensors, while Alyssa perfected her infiltration codes, fingers dancing across the keyboard in a blur. Finally, the day of reckoning arrived. Infiltrating the control room of an old government building, the faint smell of decay mixed with the adrenaline surging through their veins. They moved with precision, every step rehearsed. As they secured the perimeter, Alex motioned for Alyssa to begin. She plugged in a small device, a series of rapid beeps signaling the start of their operation. Alex took a deep breath, his mind racing back to the bunker they'd lost, to the friends they'd buried. "We're in position," Alyssa whispered, her eyes never leaving her screen. Marcus set his charges, the soft tick-tick-tick filling the room. "Ready on my end," he murmured, his voice tense but steady. Elena adjusted her headset, sweat beading on her forehead. "Alex, you're up." With a nod, Alex activated the uplink, tapping into the satellite's core. The screen flared to life with seraphic symbols and codes. "Let's expose them for what they are," he said, fingers moving with practiced precision. Suddenly, alarms blared, red lights flashing. "They know we're here," Marcus shouted, gripping his rifle. A voice, cold and robotic, echoed through the room. "Intruders detected. Neutralize immediately." Alex's heart pounded, his focus razor-sharp. "Keep them off me! We're almost there!" As Marcus and Elena engaged the seraphic guards flooding in, Alyssa's fingers danced across her keyboard, working frantically to keep the signal stable. The battle raged around them, but Alex didn't waver. He had one mission: to save humanity from this unseen enemy. Seconds felt like hours, but finally Alex broke through the final firewall. He uploaded the evidence, broadcasting the seraphic deception to the world. "We're live! The truth is out!" The broadcast screens flickered, then flashed with the undeniable proof of seraphic mind control. Across the globe, people began to wake from their manipulated haze, realizing the true nature of their celestial overlords. In the chaos, Alex's voice rang out clear and determined. Humanity will not be controlled. We fight for our freedom, and we will prevail. In the makeshift war room of the Resistance hideout, Alex Carson stood at the center of a holographic map, the faint blue light casting shadows on their determined faces. The broadcast had shaken the world, but the fight was far from over. He traced a route on the map, highlighting the seraphic control centers scattered around the globe. We've exposed them, Alex said, his voice steady, but now we have to dismantle their operations completely. These control centers are key. If we can take them out, we disrupt their command network. Elena leaned in, studying the map with keen eyes. These locations, she pointed, they correspond to ancient sites, places of historical significance. It's like they're tapping into some old power. Marcus, checking the gear for what felt like the 100th time, added, Makes sense. They've been here longer than we've known. They've probably integrated their tech with our history, using it against us. Alyssa, her fingers idly tapping on her laptop, looked up. We need to hit them where it hurts. A coordinated strike on these control centers. But we'll need alliances. We can't do this alone. Alex nodded. I've reached out to other resistance groups around the world. They're ready to join forces. It's now or never. As they prepared, the atmosphere grew tense. The weight of their mission was palpable. In the corner, a young fighter named Jen nervously adjusted her helmet. You think we really have a shot at this, Lieutenant? She asked, her voice barely above a whisper. Alex walked over, placing a reassuring hand on her shoulder. We do, Jen. We have the truth on our side, and we have each other. That's more powerful than any control they have. His words seemed to calm her, and she gave a determined nod. Nearby, Elena and Marcus were calibrating a set of EMP devices, their faces focused and intense. These should take out their power grids, Marcus explained. It'll give us the opening we need. The team geared up, the sound of weapons being checked and rechecked filling the room. Alex took a deep breath, feeling the weight of leadership settle on him. They filed out of the hideout, their resolve reflected in their silent march towards the waiting transports. The journey to the nearest control center was a blur of landscape and tension. As they approached, the ominous structure loomed against the horizon, its silhouette sinister against the setting sun. Alex surveyed the area, noting the heavily armed seraphic guards patrolling the perimeter. Stick to the plan, Alex whispered into his comms. Elena, Marcus, get those EMPs in place. Alyssa, monitor their communications. Jen, you're with me. Let's create a diversion. Moving with practiced stealth, they infiltrated the outer defenses. Elena and Marcus set the EMP devices, their movements quick and precise. Ready in 5, Marcus whispered, hands steady despite the high stakes. Alex signaled to Jen, who nodded and set off a series of small charges, drawing the guards' attention. Chaos erupted as explosions ripped through the air, and Alex, Jen, and the others engaged the enemy in a fierce firefight. In the midst of the mayhem, Marcus activated the EMPs. A low hum resonated, followed by a series of sparks and darkness enveloping the control center. Now's our chance, Alex shouted, pushing forward. They breached the main entrance, fighting their way through the disoriented guards. The control room was a chaotic mess of flashing lights and alarms. Elena hurried to the central console, plugging in her decryption device. Cover me, she instructed, her fingers flying across the keys. Alex and Marcus held the doorway, fending off waves of seraphic soldiers. Jen fired with precision, her initial nerves replaced by fierce determination. Alyssa's voice crackled in their earpieces. You're almost there. Just a few more seconds. Elena's device beeped, the screen flashing green. Done, she announced. They're blind now. We've severed their link. Alex couldn't suppress a triumphant grin. But as they regrouped, their victory was short-lived. A deep, resonant voice echoed through the comms. Impressive, Lieutenant Carson, but this is far from over. The seraphic Emperor's voice sent chills down Alex's spine. He turned to his team, their faces mirroring his own mix of exhaustion and resolve. We did it, but we've stirred the hornet's nest. Get ready, everyone. The real battle starts now. The makeshift war room buzzed with a mix of triumph and anxiety. Screens displayed live feeds from resistance groups worldwide, each sharing their success in crippling the seraphic control centers. But amidst the celebration, one word echoed: retaliation. Alex Carson paced the length of the room, eyes fixed on the holographic map. The seraphic emperor's voice still haunted his thoughts. Elena stepped in, her face drawn with concern. We've destabilized them, but it's not enough. They'll regroup, and they'll come harder than before. Alyssa, her fingers drumming on her laptop, added, we need to find their core, the heart of their operations. Without it, they can't function. Alex stopped pacing, looking at the map. The Emperor spoke as if he knew we'd succeed. That means they have a final fallback point, somewhere we haven't touched. Marcus, sharpening his combat knife, chimed in. We've hit their facilities around the globe. What's left? Elena brought up an ancient map overlay, showing regions rich in myth and legend. Here, she pointed, underwater temples, long-forgotten ruins. They've been hiding in our myths. Alex nodded slowly. The Bermuda Triangle. It's been an enigma for centuries. If they're hiding, that's a perfect spot. A plan formed quickly, with Alex guiding his team through each detail. We need to hit them fast and hard, but this time we're going to need more than just EMPs and firepower. Elena, you mentioned ancient human tech encrypted in our DNA. Elena hesitated, then nodded. It's risky, Alex. That power. It's molecular manipulation, a lost ancient secret buried deep within us. Stepping forward, Alex said, whatever it takes, we're at the edge. It's time for humanity to use every advantage. They geared up, a sense of finality in the air. The journey through the Atlantic on a stealth submarine was a tense affair. Every second felt like a countdown. As they approached the coordinates, the eerie silence of the deep surrounded them. Jen, gripping her rifle, whispered, do you think we'll make it? Alex glanced at her, then at his team. We have to, for everyone depending on us. As the submarine surfaced near a colossal structure, half submerged and shrouded in mist, they took in the sight, a massive pyramid-like temple, pulsating with an otherworldly glow. This is it, Marcus breathed. Disembarking, the team moved cautiously. The air felt charged, almost electric with unspoken threats. Inside the temple, they navigated through tight corridors adorned with symbols of an ancient civilization, their footsteps echoing ominously. Elena scanned the walls. These carvings, they tell a story of a great war, of an enemy trying to control through technology. Alyssa slowed, her gaze fixed on a central chamber up ahead. If we're right, the core's in there. They entered the chamber, finding a large crystal console at its center, bathed in a pulsating azure light. Alex approached, placing a hand on the crystal, feeling a surge of energy coursing through him. I can do this, he said, absorbing the ancient power. He closed his eyes, focusing every sense on manipulating the molecular structure of the seraphic tech. The crystals began to hum, resonating with his intent. Cover me, he instructed, his voice tight with concentration. Outside the chamber, sounds of seraphic troops advancing filled the air. Marcus and Jen took positions, ready for a fight. Elena and Alyssa worked to keep the hostile systems at bay. Alex's mind raced, stretching his newfound abilities to their limits. He visualized the network, each node, each control point. With a deep breath, he reached out, sensing the entire matrix of seraphic control. Suddenly, the connections surged, a clash of wills with the seraphic emperor himself. You cannot defeat us, human, the emperor's voice growled in his mind. Watch me, Alex snarled back, intensifying his focus. The crystals around him glowed brighter, and with a final push, he disrupted the entire network. The crystal core shattered, and a shockwave of energy pulsed outward. The seraphic soldiers faltered, their tech failing, retreating in disarray. Alex collapsed, gasping for breath, feeling the enormous strain of using the ancient power. Elena rushed to his side. Alex, are you okay? He nodded weakly. We did it. They're broken. But as the team gathered and the crystal chamber dimmed, a new resolve settled in Alex's heart. We've won this battle, but a new chapter starts today. We rebuild and we prepare for whatever comes next. The morning sun cast its first golden rays over the devastated remnants of the seraphic temple. The once glowing structure now lay in ruins, its shards and remnants scattered across the rocky seabed. The team stood quietly, absorbing the gravity of their victory. They had struck down the seraphic threat, but the world was forever changed. Back at the Resistance headquarters, a newfound urgency filled the air. People from allied groups worldwide streamed in, bringing news, resources, and hope. The room buzzed with activity, holographic displays showing the latest updates as former soldiers and civilians worked side by side. Alex Carson, still physically exhausted but mentally sharper than ever, stood near the command center, speaking with newly arrived leaders. "We've dismantled their mainframe and disrupted their control, but pockets of seraphic sympathizers remain," he said, pointing to various hotspots on the map. A seasoned resistance leader, Raj, nodded. "We've heard reports of scattered attacks in the Pacific Rim. They're desperate, but still dangerous." Elena, immersed in deciphering new data streams, glanced up. "We have to act quickly. The seraphic tech left behind could still pose a threat if it falls into the wrong hands." Nearby, Alyssa was already deep into her new mission, her fingers flying over her keyboard. "I'll track any viral remnants of their systems and neutralize them." Marcus cleaned his weapon methodically, preparing for the next inevitable skirmish. "Those loyalty seeds planted in Earth's governments won't uproot themselves. We'll have to handle it the old-fashioned way." A chill ran through the room as the holographic map flickered and a familiar, unsettling voice echoed through the speakers. The seraphic emperor, though defeated, managed to send one last message. "Humanity may have won today, but you face new threats from beyond the stars. Stay vigilant." Alex clenched his fists, the determination in his voice ringing clear. "We will, and we'll be ready." The team set to work, dividing their efforts to cover as many areas as possible. Elena collaborated with scientists worldwide, seeking to dismantle and understand seraphic technology. Marcus led tactical training sessions, fortifying the resistance and preparing the next generation of fighters. A week later, in a rare moment of calm, Alex and Elena stood on the rooftop, watching the first stars twinkle in the twilight. The air was crisp, filled with the scent of new beginnings. "It's strange," Elena said softly, her gaze fixed on the horizon. "We've come so far, but it feels like it's just the beginning." Alex nodded, a hint of a smile on his lips. "Because it is. We've learned to fight together. Now we must learn to live together, to rebuild and prepare." He turned to face her, eyes filled with a rare softness. "Thank you, Elena, for everything. We couldn't have done it without you." She smiled back. "And we couldn't have done it without your leadership, Alex." Their moment of peace was interrupted by a call from Alyssa. "Alex, Elena, you need to see this." They hurried back inside, finding Alyssa's screen displaying a complex new signal. "It's a transmission, not seraphic, something else," she explained, her eyes wide with curiosity and concern. Alex studied the transmission, recognizing patterns of an unfamiliar origin. It's from out there," he spoke softly, realizing the implications. Elena leaned closer, decoding fragments of the signal. "It's a message, an invitation, or a warning. We need to uncover its meaning." The room buzzed with renewed energy and purpose. As challenges arose and new threats loomed on the horizon, Alex knew that humanity's true strength lay not in their advanced technology or weaponry, but in their unity and resilience. Taking a deep breath, Alex looked at his team, battle-hardened yet hopeful. "We've faced the impossible and prevailed. Together we will face whatever comes next and keep moving forward." With renewed resolve and the indomitable spirit of humanity, they prepared for the unknown journey ahead. There was much to rebuild and much more to discover. The future was uncertain, but one thing was clear: they were ready.